Hi, everybody. We've had some requests about learning more about parliamentary procedure or some officer training tips and tricks for you. And we're here today with the 4-H Teen Council and one of our volunteer leaders, Allison, to help give you some different tips and tricks about club management. We know everybody's at a different stage in their clubs of whether some have been using this for many years, some are new to this. Everyone has officers that are different ages and they come and go. And there's always kind of a continuous cycle in the clubs of seeing where we're at in the process. And so we put together this video as well something you can use with your officers for an officer training and to talk with your officers about how you want to implement this, if it's something at a higher level, starting at some basic levels, and there's some tips and tricks in here to help you along the way. We're all here to support you. If you have more questions after this, want a part two, have a specific area you want some help with, let us know. Maybe we could develop another video or have another training as well. And so at this point, I'll kick it over to Allison and go through some parliamentary procedure information for you.
Excellent. Thank you, Amy. I really appreciate this. I'm excited to be here with everyone to go over parliamentary procedure. You may also hear this referred to as Robert's Rules of Order. That's one very specific type of parliamentary procedure that a lot of organizations use. And we're going to take a little bit of a deep dive into some of the ways that your club can utilize parliamentary procedure. So, what is it? First of all, you need to understand that it is a set of guidelines, and it's very important that you understand guidelines. A lot of these are recommended practices to help guide you through committee meetings and conduct your business. We're going to talk about later about how informal or formal you might need to utilize this, but just understanding that these are rules for your committee to use to make decisions and help make your meetings more efficient and effective. So, why is it important and useful? Parliamentary procedure can be used to ensure that each member of your club has a voice and the ability to speak up during meetings. By allowing the president to recognize speakers and ask speakers to wait if they've already spoken to allow others to speak during the process, it makes for a more inclusive and engaged meeting. It also helps to ensure that you can create a club record of decisions made by utilizing the voting structure that we're going to talk about in a later slide, but also how your secretaries can document those club decisions in your minutes. It maintains order during your business meetings. If you're having a lot of different discussions in the background, there could be ways that you can utilize parliamentary procedure to help refocus everyone. And most importantly, from my perspective, it helps keep your meetings efficient because it creates guardrails on how to manage big discussions or decisions and then vote to move your club forward to whatever your next activity is. At the end of this presentation, you're going to see a mock meeting that was conducted by the Montgomery County Teen Council, 4-H Teen Council, where they go over a lot of the parliamentary procedure and utilize it in a meeting. So when do you use parliamentary procedure? As you know, club meetings have a lot of different portions. They have a business portion, they may have an educational portion, and then they may have a recreational portion. Parliamentary procedure is focusing on the business portion of the meeting. When the club needs to utilize their agenda, when they need to make decisions, or they need to have an opinion that is brought forth to reach a decision. You will hear on many of your agendas, if you utilize some of the mock agenda templates that is distributed by different 4-H organizations, you will see that there is a call to order that is led by the president to start the meeting. Your secretary will generally do a roll call to determine who is in attendance. You can also use parliamentary procedure to approve basic action items during the meeting, approving meeting minutes, approving a treasurer report, or if you're making a decision on spending club funds. If you have officer or committee reports that need to be approved, you would also utilize the parliamentary procedure of voting to approve those. If your club has new ideas or proposals that they need to evaluate with all of the members, again, you can use the parliamentary procedure voting to help your club reach the decision on those new ideas and proposals. And then finally, moving to adjourn the meeting or moving to the next part of the meeting, maybe the educational portion or the recreational portion. So what is a motion? We've talked about the motion is the way that this club would move forward with the meeting or making decisions. It's a process for voting. It's a fancy way for saying voting, but it's also a way that you can use a show of hands if there's a serious or complicated decision. For example, if you're spending club funds. But if it's something that's generally a simple decision or there seems to be everybody is in agreement, you could use a voice vote where you might hear aye for agreement, that means yes, or nay for disagreement, no. Or you may also hear the word abstain. That means they choose not to vote. Members have the right to not vote. There are 5 steps to making a motion. So step 1, the president can say, is there a motion to utilize committee funds for our ice cream social? A member might say in response to that, so moved. Or a member can say, I make a motion to utilize committee funds to pay for our ice cream social. Once the motion has been made, in parliamentary procedure, it is required that it has a second. The president can say, is there a second to this motion? And a member can say second, or they can say, I second the motion. Once you make the motion and you second the motion, you're ready to move forward into the voting procedure. First, the president will restate the motion and ask for discussion. Now, understanding that parliamentary procedure is sometimes more formal or it's more informal, you may not always restate the motion, but it's good practice to encourage your president to restate the motion so that everyone knows exactly what they're discussing and ultimately what they're going to vote on. It also helps the secretary to ensure that they are writing down the motion clearly in the minutes. Once discussion has been opened, this is when members can provide their opinions on the content of the motion. After everyone has had their opportunity to speak or no one has any additional comments, the president will decide it is, and you see in quotation here, time to call the question. Again, parliamentary procedure can be very formal. This is a formal way to end discussion, time to call the question. Or you can informally say, okay, I think we've all discussed the matter. It's time to move for a vote. Your club will decide how formal or how informal it needs to be when you're utilizing parliamentary procedure. Once all of the discussion has been had, it's time to move to step 4, the vote. The president will then say, all those in favor of the motion or agree, that's the other way to say in favor, all those who agree with the motion say aye, or if you're taking a hand count, you would ask everyone to raise their hand. All those not in favor of the motion or do not agree say nay, or raise your hand. All those wishing to abstain, not vote, say abstain or raise your hand. Members will then vote once they have each of those categories has been called out. Now, here's a pro tip. If you start conducting a voice vote and people are saying aye, or if you get to the point where they say nay, and there are one or two members who say nay, it's good practice at that point in time to restart the voting with a hand count so that your secretary can make sure that they have the appropriate numerical totals to show in their minutes. Step 5, restate the results. The president will count the hands or listen to the voice vote. If counting the hands, we suggest that another officer assist the president just so that they can compare and make sure that their vote count is accurate. If you're a very small committee, This may not be necessary because it may not need to be that formal. If you're a larger committee, it can be very helpful. The president will then say, the vote was unanimous and passes, or the vote was 4-10, so the motion fails or passes depending upon the vote count. At this point in time, it is very important that the secretary is documenting the action in the minutes and that the motion has been recorded accurately. For my secretaries, do not be afraid to ask for the motion to be repeated to allow you to write it down clearly. Your minutes at the next meeting will be helpful to ensure that the membership understands the vote and the decision that was made. The results of the vote with the count, if a hand count, should be included in the minutes. 2 pro tips. It is not recommended to indicate member names in a vote count, only the numerical totals. For the secretaries, while you're tabulating your vote count, it should be equal to or less, because remember, members are not required to vote. It should be less than the number of members voting. Secretaries, again, this is where your role becomes very important in documenting the way that a committee moves forward in a decision. This is an area where, as a secretary, take your time and make the effort to understand exactly what is being discussed by the club and how it should be recorded in your minutes. A few more pro tips. We've talked a lot throughout this PowerPoint about how you need to be very formal versus informal. As we started the beginning of this discussion, parliamentary procedure is a guideline. It's a tool that you can use for your club to be efficient, inclusive, and effective. If you have something that is difficult or contentious, you might need to be more formal in how you utilize parliamentary procedure. You might not need to be very formal at all based on your club's culture or the needs of the decisions that you're managing. But remember, parliamentary procedure is there for you to use when you need it, how you need it. It's a great way for new members or shy members to participate. Presidents, vice presidents, this is an area where you should be watching your club as you start having discussions and helping engage those members, maybe by asking members who have spoken already to wait until others have had a chance to speak, or by recognizing members who might be wanting to speak, but not necessarily able to break into the conversation. This is a great way for the president to recognize members who want to speak. It's also a process to move forward in disagreement within the club. Parliamentary procedure and the voting rules that we described in a motion are very prescribed. When you have disagreement within a club, it can be difficult. Utilizing the motion process, the discussion process once that motion has been seconded, and then the very clear-cut show of hands voting will help you determine what is the true decision that your club wishes to reach. So utilizing a more formal process in disagreement is a way that parliamentary procedure can be very helpful. Officers, it's also a way for you to use your time management skills. If a conversation has been going on for a while, use that it's time to call the question, or we have reached the end of the discussion, let's move forward into a vote. These are all ways that you can help utilize parliamentary procedure to make your process, your club, your decisions more effective, inclusive, and engagement within your club. As I mentioned earlier, our Montgomery County 4-H Teen Council has created a mock meeting that we're going to show at this point in time. Once you've viewed this mock meeting and seen all of these motions and tips and tricks in action, I encourage you to use some of these scenarios or come up with a scenario that is facing your club and practice parliamentary procedure. Amy is here as a resource for you. If there's anything that I can do, I am more than happy to help answer any questions or think of new ways to use parliamentary procedure that are helpful for you and your club. Amy, I turn it back over to you.
Thanks so much, Allison. And again, we know all clubs are at different levels with this, and if you want to get more into it, we're here to support you. If you're just starting, we're here to support you. And officers, think about when you go to state leadership conference, there's tracks and workshops dedicated just to this. A parliamentary procedure, Robert's Rules of Order as well, if you're really interested in learning more about it. And at this time, we'll turn it over to our Montgomery County 4-H Teen Council and see their video they provided for your training.
I call this meeting to order at 6:31 p.m. The meeting for the Teen Council 4-H Club will now come to order. Is there a volunteer to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance in the 4-H Pledge?
I volunteer.
Thank you, Zalia. Please stand.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Another 4-H. I pledge my head to clear thinking, my heart to greater loyalty, my hands to larger service, my health to better living, for my club, my community, my country, and my world.
Thank you, Zalia. We will now complete our roll call. When the secretary calls your name, please answer with your favorite color.
Rose,
Pink.
Hope, yellow. Zelia, green. Ella, blue. Lydia,
Purple.
Gabby, blue. Tyler,
Green.
Anita, purple. Nikki, pink. Summer, red.
Sage, can you please provide a review of the minutes?
The minutes were provided via email prior to the meeting and no corrections have been received. Are there any updates from the room?
Summer. Hudson Thomas's name was spelled incorrectly in the 4th paragraph. It should be Hudson. The O was omitted.
Thank you, Summer. Sage, please make this correction. Are there any additional corrections or additions? Hearing none, the minutes will stand as corrected.
Thank you. With this correction, I would like to have a motion to approve the minutes.
I move to approve the minutes.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
The agenda for this meeting has been circulated. Are there any corrections or items of the new business to add? Ella, could you please provide a financial report?
Yes, our current checking account balance is $1,274. Since our last meeting, we had $150 in income from our
Excuse me, let's please direct our attention to this report. The treasurer's report is important to having a healthy club. If you have any corrections or comments, I will recognize you after the report is finalized. Ella, please continue.
bake sale at Tractor Supply. We also wrote one check number 157 for $275 for pizza at our Halloween party.
Thank you, Ella. Are there any questions regarding the financial report or those who wish to speak? Hearing none, we will continue with our officer reports. Celia, do you have any report to share this evening?
No, I do not have a report.
Sage, do you have any correspondence to share?
No, I do not have any correspondence.
Therefore, we will move on to the new business, a review of locations for our community service event. We want to volunteer at a local food bank this year. Does anyone have any suggestions? Please stand or raise your hand so we can recognize you.
Summer. I think we should consider Cecil and Grace in Norristown. They have a great scheduling system and a lot of space.
Lydia, the Manor on Main in Lansdale is really nice. It is smaller, however. We could all contribute in some way.
Cecil and Grace is in an underserved community, but it's nearby. I think they're really easy to deal with, and I already know someone who volunteers there.
But I think Manna on Main is smaller and they'll reach a larger amount of residents. They're also flexible on scheduling and will be most likely to accommodate us.
Reminder to please raise your hand to be recognized before the speaking.
Lydia? I move that we volunteer at Manna on Main in Lansdale.
I second the motion.
The motion has been made and seconded to volunteer at Manna on Main in Lansdale. Is there any discussion? Hearing no discussion, we will move to the vote. All those in favor of the motion that we volunteer at Manna on Main, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay.
Nay.
Since we have a disagreement, I would like to move this voice vote to a formal hand count vote. Those in favor of volunteering at Manna on Main, please raise your hand. Those not in favor of volunteering at Manna on Main, please raise your hands. You can put your hands down. With a vote count of 9 in approval and 2 against, the motion passes. Is there any additional new business? With none, I would like to share the following announcements. We have an opportunity to participate in a statewide communications contest in June. If you are interested in signing up, please do so in C-Suite before May 28th. Our next meeting will be on Tuesday, June 2nd in the Maple Room. I would now like to call on our club leader who will introduce the program.
Tonight for our program, we're going to have...
With our program complete, do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I move that the meeting be adjourned.
I second the motion.
All those in favor of the motion to adjourn the meeting say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. The motion to adjourn the meeting is passed. The meeting for the 4-H Council is adjourned. All members are encouraged to stay and participate in recreation and enjoy refreshments.